Aye. We set the trends. Hold on, let me see something real quick. Y'all hold on for 1 second. I'll be right with y'all. Tune in, tap in. Hold on.
Guess who just got? Guess who just got myself some friends? Guess who just got me some friends?
Good. Be good.
Guess who just got me some friends?
Alright, give him a minute.
You got you some friends. Hold on, Loaf Lyfe. You got you some
Can I have a hug,
friends.
please?
Not every time he's on live. You always want to do something when he's on live. You have to wait.
Yeah, well, I didn't give him a hug ever since. So
Yeah. Let's
Guys,
go,
I got
let's go,
myself
let's go. Look,
Yeah.
look at this right here, right? So, first and foremost, it's hot. Today might have started the first day of spring, I believe. It's 70 degrees it hit today. But welcome to Loaf Lyfe TV. You already know it's your host, Loaf Lyfe Manny, and I'm here giving you the real. You already know. Tap in, tap in, tap in. Salute to everybody that's been out here keeping it real all these years. Salute to those who are making it home, doing what they gotta do. Salute to those women out here feeding their kid the best of their ability and taking care of responsibilities, right? But never hold no accountability. You heard? Because that's a woman thing. So shout out to all those that's doing that. Shout out to the brothers that's out here that's trying to make a positive living, no matter if it's content creating or raking some leaves up or something, or cutting grass, whatever you doing, or driving trucks, whatever it is you got to do to make an honest income, go ahead and do it, play. I ain't mad at you. First and foremost, I'm going to speak lightly on this topic, right? And it's because I really don't care. But I told y'all Papoose was a rat. I told y'all ain't want to believe me. Yeah, he told, rest in peace, he told on the OG Dope from L Gangs. Yeah, he told on them. But we gonna move forward, right? Remy Martin. So Papoose got mad that 50 Cent exposed the video of her exposing herself. I don't get this. I'm kind of, all right, that's your wife, cool. She's effing a whole other man, Papoose. She's doing so. Y'all just this is the destruction of black civilization right before y'all eyes. No matter if I like 50 Cent or not, right? I always keep it real. Like I said, keeping it real means keeping it right. So us people, black folks, we always find a way to try to cut avenues and do things, to get more money the fastest, quickest way. But at no point in time should you be trying to really tear down another person's life with them doing so. Tearing down another person's life is tearing down a bank account, bro. Like, you are about to sue this man, file restraining orders on him. The next is a lawsuit, guaranteed. He's worth a couple of $100 million. They want some of that money. Thumbs down. Papoose, you been a rat. You a rat again. And there's no using it as an excuse. Oh, that's my wife, yo. Handling it in the streets then, coward. You knocked out the other dude. You violated him, but then you go get a restraining order on 50 Cent? What type of, like, this is the part that I'm not understanding. You dudes kick all this music rap with violence and guns and drugs but be the most cowards in real life. Real facts. Remy is a disrespectful thot. She been that. Everybody from the Bronx knows that. Remy would disrespect a man in a heartbeat because she had that whole, like a bro type mentality, you heard? So she felt like a bro. She just switched over after her bid into this feminine Remy. But guess what? She still was a thotty. You thought you could change her. You couldn't change her, Papoose. She was a thotty. So check this out. That was my topic right there for that little. I gave them their little 5 minutes of fame real quick. Now we're gonna get into the real spill and the real deal, right? And this topic is gonna ruffle a little feathers. Again, it's gonna cause some little, you know, but what I'm here to do right now is speak on the differences from, yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you can't do that. I'm not saying, y'all want to say, yo, trying to turn a hoe to a house. Everybody has a history, has a past, bro. Everybody got a past. And every female is a hoe for somebody. Trust that. Please believe that, bro, AP. Every woman will be a hoe for the right man. Trust that. So I'm not disputing or I'm not placing claim against who she was. I'm saying you should know what you got and move accordingly. That's just it. You want to do this marriage shit. You want to go do this. You want to do that. You want to knock dudes out. You want to chase after the situation. If she's yours, she's for you. I just read a post that somebody dropped earlier. It was a young boy too. And he was like, yo, man, all y'all dudes, you feeling insecure. You feeling less of a man. You know, boy, everybody get a turn. She moved on. Don't be mad at the next man. Don't feel like that next man is better than you or got something you don't got. No, you are the right person for the right person. That's just it. You are the right person for the right person. So y'all could take that and run with that however you want to do it. So this is what's going down right now. What's going down right now is F Papoose, F Remy. Of course Remy got a whole reputation that considered streets. She probably more streets than Papoose. I never heard of her ratting. You know what I mean? So like, now listen, y'all can say what y'all want. Order protections and restraining orders is ratting to me. I don't care what y'all say. You put another man's name on a piece of paper, you're telling. That's just it. And that's what he just did to 50 Cent. He just put his name on a piece of paper for a restraining order. Guys, you did bad. You did totally. You did crazy. Word, with no shame. But it's 2025. Everybody get a chance to do whatever, some weird shit. Everybody a little weird now, right? I guess so. I guess that's the new way. But let's get to this topic, man. Let's drop the bomb today. Let's drop the bomb today. All right. So yesterday I went on here and I gave you the verses. I gave y'all 2 verses, right? This time I come to do a little something different, right? I want to speak a little bit about the differences between being a homie in the streets and being a homie in jail, right? And I'm going to show you why brothers that chose to live the life in the streets was more loyal and committed than brothers who was incarcerated to the cause. I live both sides. All right. So check this out, and this is a matter of opinion. Those that disagree, they could join up. They could, combat it. Put it in the comment section. Check me up. Hit me up. You know what I mean? I go live. I stream the yard. I go live on there for y'all. Whatever the case may be. But what I'm gonna tell y'all is this, right? Through personal experience, and mind you, before I start this, I want y'all to know this is not to promote, advertise, or co-sign any form of illegal activity or gang violence. This is to tell y'all the facts so y'all won't so y'all can get a clear understanding, a clear vision and perception of the gang life inside and outside. Now, outside. We're gonna go with outside first. I remember coming up in a time where there was only a few Damus running around the East Coast. I'm talking 97 on, right? You did have the boroughs. It was a little, Albany Projects. Everybody know that was the headquarters out there. The Shines. You had. I know out in the Bronx, 183rd, all the way down, all of the projects, Eda Wall, wherever you went out there, any project that was Wagner, Taft, and him, in Harlem, wherever you went, you know what I mean? Foster, Billy's had that in the headlock, Uptown, Polo Grounds, the Brims, you know what I mean? 165th and Sheridan, the Bronx back in the days was Brims. I know where the Brims was at because that's what I was and that's where I went. You feel me? So I eventually splurged out and went everywhere, but I stayed with what my people's was and where we was at, and the boroughs is where we went to, right? So I'm going to say this though, right? Where I'm from in Long Island, where the beef flew high at, because it was more Damus out here than Rips. But in my town specifically, there were more Rips than Damus, right? However, that caused for all of the Damus to be locked in, to be tight. So I remember those days waking up 15 years old to call my homie Jungle, call my homie Q, call my homie Oskino, call my homie Mikey B. I'm checking in with the bros, D Rug, Snipes. Yeah, we locking in, we tapping in, we meeting up, we going out getting a dollar. We was hanging and banging. That's what we was calling it back then. You know what I mean? It was 44 mag. You feel me? Don Juan DeMarco flow. Those type of things going on back then. It wasn't no set trip. It wasn't no 1090. Niggas wasn't on that type of time. You know what type of time we was on? Painting the town red. You feel me? Word, kicking up duff and creating the fuss. That's what we was doing. It was nothing about no, going against another homie that was wearing red. So I say in the town, in the streets, right? It was more unified. It was more of an organization and order. It was more family. Salute, bro. It was more family, right? That's why I never considered it a gang. I considered them my family because every day we called each other. We linked in the morning. We made sure each person got home safe at night. We made sure we called our brothers. We made sure we did everything together as brothers, right? Again, inside the penitentiary, it was similar. They did that too. When I went up there, I seen the love. I seen the loyalty, right? But this is the difference. The difference is everybody knew each other from the set in the streets. So if you was whatever set you was claiming in a certain neighborhood, guess what? You knew your big homies. You knew who the homies were. You didn't have to write nobody. You didn't have to guess who this person's character was, how he was when you meet him. You dig what I'm saying? These are the things that made a difference in gangbanging. Whereas inside the penitentiary, a OG may bring somebody home and gave him status in one hood, a GF rather, and you may not know this nigga because you in another jail. But you just got his name and his DIN numbers and you in communication with him. It's not the same type of loyalty. It's not the same type of love. Even if you took that oath and you proclaimed, this is why so many people set hop and set tripped. They never really knew the person that they was with. So it was so easy for them to leave and go to another set around a general or OG that they ended up coming against. And that's what a lot of brothers use as technology to bring people into their set. That's why you had more disloyal people than loyal people. Understand that. In the penitentiary, I'm talking about. In the streets, everybody knew each other. You couldn't come into my set and not know who your OGs were and your generals and your 5-star. It wasn't none of that. I'm talking past tense. You feel what I'm saying? So when you was in the streets doing whatever gang activity you was doing or being a part of whatever gang you was being a part of, you was more accustomed to showing that love and showing that loyalty and keeping your set remaining what your set is, not switching it soon as you get around the next person who's claiming another hood but got status, and then you don't know your big homie, so you like, man, fuck that, I know you, I'm gonna go with you. A lot of dudes was doing that in the penitentiary. You understand what I'm saying? They didn't know they big homies. They probably came in the spot under one person, but they didn't know they whole lineup. They ain't know. They love and their loyalty to their set made them stick with that conviction to be a part of it. But if people's not loyal from within from the start, guess what? They gonna set hop anyway. So that just goes into my own personal experiences. The things that changed me as a person, me as a homie, and me as a representative of Brim as a whole. I recall, the years that I was in society in the streets as a young homie, as a little homie, running around, and I got my brothers with me every day. We locked in so tight that we didn't see ever going to another set, which is why I've been 5'9" all them years that I was 5'9". You know what I mean? Like, it was like, nah, bro. It was a sin. Two things. It was a sin to switch your hood if you came home in the streets, and it was a sin to go to prison and turn blood and come back to the set as a blood when you went in as a neutral. Because we believe that if you wasn't brought home in the hood, that mean you was a buster. That mean that you wasn't put on because niggas wasn't jacking you. So if you went to jail at 97, 98, 99, I'm talking about those years. If you went to jail and turned down more in those years, the streets lines considered you like a sucker. We probably didn't look at you the same because it was like, why you ain't do that in the streets? You was out here where you could really put on and put on. You feel me? So yeah. And inside the penitentiary was the same thing. They was saying we was no good in the streets. They was like, oh, them dudes out there, they false claiming, they false this, they false that. But in all actuality, dudes was out in the streets doing it the right way. Linking in, tapping in, East Coast, West Coast, wherever, and trying to create more of an organization and a family line, more so than some gang shit. You understand what I'm saying? So when you deal with the brothers that was inside, like I wanted to talk to a few brothers like I was about to call the homie from West Coast, Big Black Mikey. I'm talking about Bad Mikey. I was gonna pull Bad Mikey up because let me shout out Bad Mikey and Mikey B. Hood Love. Let me shout him out, and I'm gonna correct something as well in the conversation because yesterday, he called me and I called him. He sent me his number and I called him, and we spoke on the Lacey situation, right? And for those who don't know, Lacey and P, we are my brothers. It was never no slander spit upon them. I actually was speaking truth and facts, about history that caused the separation and caused a lot of chaos and internal strife. It always gonna start with your leaders. You can't blame the people when a nation has failed. You only could blame the leaders, the forefathers, right? So it starts with our leaders, and our leaders been took accountability for their actions, and I'm more than sure that Lacey and Pee Wee regret not ever writing each other and communicating with each other, right? Because I spoke to both of them in past conversations, you heard? And what I could also say is that I'm not speaking for these brothers. They could speak for themselves. I'm giving you my matter of opinion. You heard? And my opinion is valid because I put my life on the line for that movement for many years. And I would never talk down on my nation or on my people. I would only give you the real and the truth and hope that y'all could assess it and say, yo, you know what? I know this brother was a reputable member for all these years and he fell back and he got his life together, so maybe I can too, and still affiliate. Like, because there's a difference between representing, claiming, and affiliation. All right? It's a big difference. To represent means to actually stand 10 toes down, to be on that front line and live according to the way of your movement. To claim is to just say you a part of something but not really know what the ins and outs of that movement is. And to affiliate means to know people and to have an understanding of that party and just to be able to say, all right, those are my people without really having involvement. Yeah, those are my people. The Brims is gonna be my people. I love them and all that. But am I actively involved in that shit? No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No way. No way. And I speak that with love, with respect, and with pure conviction. I did that time. I did them years. I put on. I love y'all. But no. You feel me? I'm here to redirect the people as a whole. So that matters if you're blood, if you're crip, if you're folk, if you're any of that shit. I'm here to tell you the right thing to do. You right? And I'm giving y'all the whole vision for you to see it clearly or what not to do. Oh, yo, yo, what's up? Yo, listen, I appreciate whatever. Yeah, like, share, subscribe, hit that button. It's that notification, it's that gratitude button. Hit that like button, that gratitude button. Hit that button. Let me know that y'all care. Let me know that y'all what we were uplifting the youth, uplifting the people, and teaching this need for change because it's important. You heard? And you can hit my Cash App too. It's Loaf Lyfe Manny 59. LOAFLYFEMANNY 59. You heard? And I'm talking a lot of all this money. No, I'm not talking a lot of bullshit. I'm talking facts. I'm talking real history, real facts, real differences between jail bloods, street bloods. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I'm kicking to you right now. And that's not bullshit. This is the facts of it. You feel me? When you go inside that institution and you land in spots, you are forced to like individuals that may be in your set that you may not never had fucked with in the streets at all. You understand what I'm saying? And within doing that is a lot of internal strife and turmoil that come on. Some people would prefer to have less people in the set amongst them than many. I was one of them. I liked it 5'9" when it was only a little bit of us, to be honest with you. Yeah, no doubt. It's a lot of love. There's a lot of brims all over. It's a lot of shit that you may look at and say, oh, they doing it. They don't, you know what I mean? But that all is a price to pay at the end. Because if you got 100 people, guess what? Guess how many of them is not solid? 85 of them. 85 of 100 people is not solid. Understand that. We're going to go through the percentage of the nation of gods and earths. And that always, since it always stood right with me. The mathematics always stood right with me. 85% of them people are dumb, deaf, and blind out of 100. 5% are actually living away. 5 of them 100 are actually promoting and living the way. 10%, 10 of them are promoting the way. So it's 15 in total to actually have the knowledge and actually would use the knowledge. 5 of them will use the knowledge to help the people get better. 10 of them will use the knowledge for their own personal gain. And the 85 of them are dumb, deaf, and blind. They crash out on a mission to crash out. You heard? So, yeah, that's a lot, right? That's a lot. But it's the truth. The numbers don't, I just look at what you see in the world right now. The numbers don't lie. And this is the reason why I always told dudes, and when I was in the system, take that man one-on-one and take him out and talk to him. Don't do it in front of a whole bunch of people. Because you do it in front of a whole bunch of people, guess what? His ego, his pride gonna get the best of him. But he one of them dumb, deaf, and blind people. So his ego and his pride gonna get the best of him. You take that one on the side and check him, you're gonna get a whole different response. You feel me? And how I moved inside the penitentiary when I was in spots is I always used this. I never got caught up in names, status, and what a person had. I got caught up in actions. I was quiet. I was militant. I paid attention to body language. I paid attention to what a person said, but more so what he did. You feel what I'm saying? Because these things would show me if he was a leader, a righteous leader or not. And this is how I would take my first step in any jail that I hit. I'm pulling up. Oh, okay, I'm observing, observing, and I'm reacting. Okay. All right, that dude over there using drugs. Oh, that dude over there, he's selling drugs. He using the drugs to move the crowd. Oh, okay, I see him. He militant. He working out. He outside. He care for the people. He on the front line. He helping people with commissary. He helping. I'ma fuck with him. You understand what I'm saying? So when you making that decision inside the system, you have to choose carefully who you decide to deal with, right? And let it not be a war. If it's a war, you only stuck with who you stuck with. So my thing be to y'all is this, right? If you gonna do something and you gonna be a part of something in the streets, understand the consequences that come with being a part of that movement. Understand that when you go into the system, you may get a part of around individuals that you may not like that's in that same set. You're going to have to deal with it or let it go. Mainly, my thing is, if you an individual out here and you thinking that you're going to get an easy ride, you're joining a gang for some sort of protection or to be down, understand when you enter that penitentiary, it's no longer that. So that's a part 2 to this. A lot of you individuals in the streets, y'all was joining the gang or the movements y'all was joining to be down. Or because your man did it. Or because it was the cool thing on the block or of the time of that era. Because like I remember in 99, 2000 when Snoop started crip walking everywhere, on stage and everywhere, and busting out with the blue flags and all that. I seen everybody in New York wanted to be crip. Everybody started jacking the crip shit. The crip wave started getting crazy in the industry. Everybody started jacking it. Then in the 2000, the millennium, 03, 02, Jim Jones and Dipset and all of them came. Everybody want to be blood now. Then later, certain rappers, the influence of hip hop caused the epidemic of the gangs to spread all across the world, not just from LA to New York, but down south, Midwest, everywhere. You know what I mean? And we know Gangsta's Paradise is Chicago. We all know that. You know what I mean? I believe they started gang banging first before LA, if I'm not mistaken. And even New York had gangs, but it wasn't these type of gangs, color banging gangs. You know what I mean? My whole thing is that with the blood and Crip culture and the other gang cultures in New York, it was a difference between the streets and the penitentiary. So at the end of the day, we want to say this, right? If you choosing to join a gang as a grown man, I'm going to say this again. Kids and cowards join gangs. Kids and cowards. Grown men don't join gangs. Grown men redirect gangs. Grown men try to utilize the knowledge and experiences that they've been through to change the direction of the gangs or the gang members. Because a lot of individuals that get caught up in the gang life are not thinkers, are not leaders. That's why 85% of them are crash outs. Right? So I did 23 years, 23 years in total, yeah. And the brother did 15. Shout out to Battle Double Nine. Shout out to Battle Double Nine. But let me get into something else before I forget it, man. Shout out to Mikey B and Hood Love TV again. He corrected me on something that I spoke on yesterday. And I later did the research and he was right. I just mixed the two up, all right? OG Mac gave Lacey the one-on-one, the 101. Pardon me, one-on-one, the 101, right? It was, I believe, Iz and Shaquell and them and the dudes who created the 5-to-1 who gave Lacey the 5-star general spot. But this is when they was trying to demote him off of the line. I don't know if it was Shaquell. I think it was Eds and them, you know, whoever was running the council at that time. You know what I mean? Because I'm more than sure I remember yeah, I gotta spin off too, so let me get my stuff together. But I remember Asai had took over the U when he left, and that's what caused the chaos between Iz and SI. Because Iz wanted that shit. Iz felt that he was supposed to have it, but nah. Iz was doing bad. I love you.
Love you.
Hold on. Yeah. Ez was doing Ez was doing bad at that time. So being that Ez was doing bad, what they did was they gave that shit to SI. To SI left, and then SI still gave it to Ez. Like, you know what I mean? But whatever. That's some whole other shit. What I'm explaining is that Mikey B corrected me, and he was right. You feel me? It was 101 rather. I keep saying 101. Shout out to the Stones and the Brems, man. I keep saying 101, man. It's 101, man. But so when you dealing with, hold on. When you dealing with individuals like Two-Face, right? Because he explained to me also that it was more to the story that I had And it's official. Each one teach one. We all learn something new. Right? I gave you the summarized version that was taught to me from Lacey and 380 and other leaders of the brims and shit. You feel me? And he gave me the whole version from his perception. You know what I mean? And he explained to me that everybody did go on with Two-Face when Matt gave him the situation. And it was a beef between Dale Brim and Larry O that that made Lacey and Larry O get into the situation with each other, which understandable. Tomato, tomato. What I said was Pee Wee and Lace fallout was because of one person, Larry O. That's what I said. It was the truth. It was Larry O who caused the diffusion between everybody. That was fine now because Larry O was actually in that group that was up north. So automatically it caused a separation when him and Two-Face started, beefing with each other and downstate and all of that shit, 98, 99. My whole thing is that, you see, that's an example. They didn't know each other. One is from Harlem, one is from Queens, and one is from the Bronx. But they both was in the same set. I recall when L.O. told me, he was like, yeah, motherfucker had the nerve to tell me I wasn't a 5-star. Yeah, because that's what Lacey did. Lacey told you, you ain't got nothing unless I gave it to you. That's how he was. But see what I'm saying? The difference? If they would have all came home in the streets, it would have been none of that. If they would have all came home in the streets, or like if Lacey would have came home in Kasaki, prime example was the same thing like the streets, where all of them was there. They all knew each other. And you locked in that communication to where once they spread it out and whoever they brought home, they all kept in contact. That would have been more healthier than somebody bringing somebody home in a box in jail and giving them a DIN number and saying, yo, this is my DIN number, this is your lineup, and get in contact with me. Nah, bro, that's the reason why the loyalty wasn't there. That's the reason why a lot of people's loyalty tainted out fast. Because they didn't know who they big homies were in prison. And in the streets, like I said, if you was in your town, you knew who your big homies were. You call them niggas up, you go see them, you go into their house, you eating at their house, they eating at yours. You know what I mean? You're doing drills together. You it's whatever. That's why you was like this. When they say that's my dog, that's my ace. You feel what I'm saying? That's my road dog, that's my Scooby. You feel me? When you use those terms, they meant something. And even in the penitentiary, they meant something, but you had to build a relationship in the jail. You didn't know how long that was going to last. You may have been in the jail with somebody, with your homie, for 5 days. It could have been 2 days, 1 day. You don't never know when something going to get lit. So, the difference, I'll give it to the streets on that. I would rather be one who came home in the streets because it made my loyalty and my love for the culture be way greater. It made me understand my purpose. It made me understand the value system of, representing a movement and being a part of something. You know what I mean? Because some dudes in prison, they are joining for protection. So they don't really care for the lessons. They don't really care for the culture of it. They don't care about that. And that's the reason why a lot of people's passion is not the same as mine to this day. Because they never really cared for the passion of the culture. They never had passion for the culture. You understand what I'm saying? It's a difference. My whole body is tatted up like I lived in LA. Like I'm from Cali. No, I'm not from Cali. I'm from New York. But it's the passion, it's the love. Same reason why other people now today are doing it. You got communities now on into it. They grandmothers, they grandfathers, they fathers, they you know what I mean? Because we got that time in now. but just the understanding of the difference. You feel me? If you was in the streets, what's that?
Bitches.
Food? Huh? If you was in the streets, pardon me. If you was in the streets, we also did. The love was just so much better in the streets. So much better when you're free. You're not bounded by police. You're not caring about. Nobody can shut your nines down. They can't come to your house and tell you, yo, stop making all that noise. Stop having a party. Stop doing this. Stop doing. No, they can't do that to us in the streets. Because it's not a crime to be involved with an organization. The crime is when they commit criminal activity. So if you was having fun with your peoples, y'all was at your house having a powwow, and you got 50 homies there, 60 homies there, y'all all having a good old time. Now, what y'all decide to do at that time after you intoxicated and high and all of that, that's totally up to you. But what we do know is that the love is going to be the party, that everything is going to be then in the penitentiary. You understand what I'm saying? In the penitentiary, the police is coming to crash your cell. Oh, it's too many people in the cell. Oh, you can't be in the cell if you're in certain maxes. You're on a 10. When you're in the yard, there's only 5 to a group. Oh, y'all break it up. So now you got to make little groups of 5 and hope that they don't blow the whistle on you. You feel me? And let known the mental trauma we go through in the penitentiary. So we not really thinking about, yo, all right, you know what? I want to get to know. You can't trust everybody. You don't put your trust into everybody like that. So even with a dude that's in your set, you done seen so much foul stuff happen, you don't really want to get close to certain people. Because you don't know what's going to happen to you. Or if you going to be that target. So you pick a road dog, or you pick somebody to call you Scooby, and y'all lock in. But it's not the same as having 15, 20 people that you trusted, that you know got your back, like it would be in the streets. You feel me? Most of the time, nobody shut me down for my Nobody shut me down. Facts my money up. Is Attica a disciplinary prison? Yeah, Attica was definitely a disciplinary prison. I was in Attica twice. I was in Attica in 2003 and I was in 2004, 2005 I was in Attica. In 2011 I was in Attica. Yeah. So yeah, disciplinary to the core. Now, shout out to Battle. Shout out to China. Pop the trunk, China. Whoa. Yeah. So, let me get into this. I'm going to show you an example. Don't get me wrong, because I could be kind of misleading y'all to believe that the penitentiary don't create loyal people in a set. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that you find more loyalty to a set from brothers in the streets than brothers in prison. More brothers in the streets are more prone to stay loyal to one set because of the love that they experience with their homies in the town, opposed to going to the penitentiary. This is why a lot of people didn't change their sets in the upcoming millennium. This is why a lot of people came from the streets to the penitentiary and remained the set that they were and didn't switch over because of the love that they had in their hood, in their projects, in their neighborhood, where they knew they big homies, they knew they brothers, they knew who they was dealing with. When they went to the penitentiary, they didn't know them big homies in there. They had to get next to them. They had to go to a jail, go to this jail, had the right to their fingers, had blisters, shit like that. It's a big difference. A big difference. Cause then you get next to the nigga, like I'm calling a spade a spade. I got next to 380 and didn't even like him. I got next to a couple of people and I didn't like them because of their flaws. Because I was so on top of my, what they call deen, and as Islamic say the deen, I was so much on top of mines, you know what I mean? I never broke codes. I never broke rules. I knew them off the top of my head, so I spit them vividly. So anything that I came across, if they did something in my presence and I didn't like it and I knew that was breaking the rules, I was checking it. You know, a lot of dudes had them sniffing habits. A lot of niggas had that. You feel me? A lot of sucker habits, you heard? And I'm checking you. I was checking you. Weight up, feeling good, looking good, and most importantly, nigga, it was on the set. So, yeah, you gotta push that. Ain't no. And let's get this straight. There's some things I don't agree with. Like, I'm not a drug person. I grew up playing sports, so I worked out a lot, right? I never smoked cigarettes a day of my life. I never drunk beer, right? But I smoke weed, and I get a little tipsy every now and then. My whole thing was this. I got brain freeze. Hold on. I was about to get to a point and almost forgot the point just now that fast. That's crazy. All right, boom. Damn, that's crazy. I just got brain freeze just now, man. Pardon me, y'all. Pardon me. I just got brain freeze crazy. I'm trying to eat. I really is. I'm hungry. I mean, I'm trying to drop some juice, but I'm hungry at the same time. And I'm trying to think of what I was getting at. But what I'm gonna say is this, right? And I'm gonna finish up with the Mikey situation with Lace, because Mikey had told me that Lace and Larry Yo was cool in the beginning, and they had a fallout over Dell, over LO taking the hood from Dell when he came back into the state. So that's what they fallout was over. Whatever the case may be, we know they had a fallout, and we know Lacey put hands on Lario, and from that point on, LO had a grudge. So that led to a lot of the proms choosing LO side over Lacey side, and it being an internal type situation, which led to Pee Wee carrying on that burden. Because him and LO was like this. So that's just to correct that little part, which is nothing. It was nothing major. I didn't say nothing different. Only part is I left out Dell Brim and LO situation. You feel me? The reason why, because Dell, I know Dell Brim too. Salute to Dell. But when I got the lessons, it didn't have his name in it. Bottom line, it didn't have his name in it. It had Pee Wee and Larry O and Lacey names in it. Dell name wasn't mentioned, regardless to the fact. But thanks for the information, Mikey B. And you know, I'm gonna keep it pushing. I'm gonna keep it pushing with the difference between the prison and the street blood, right? So we got the process from initiation to you choosing your homies to now we gonna go to putting in work. In a town, you have various objects, items you could utilize to put in work. In a town, you're not just putting the work on getting jumped in. You're not just putting in the work on cutting somebody. You feel me? So the whole process is more serious and more real, which also brings more loyalty towards the set. Because when you go on a mission, or you have to go on a mission, it requires for others to know. It requires for some people to be a part of that mission, which means that trust and some things you're going to take to the grave, right? In a penitentiary, you go cut somebody, you go have a little brawl out, regular shit. It's almost like high school. You know what I mean? The difference is the severity where it could go when disrespect is involved or when certain calls are made. So you may lose your life, but the percentage of you losing your life is very, very few in New York. You feel me? So it's like you could be tortured. Don't get me wrong, you could be tortured. People can torture you in prison, but it's not gonna be as severe as in the streets where you would die. People is dying in the streets. Guns is being used. You feel me? People is tracking people down, going to their houses. Doorstep action, out the car action, in the barbershop action, in IHOP action. You understand what I'm saying? Like, there's no getting away from it. If death is for you, it's coming for you, and that's just it in the streets. In prison, you could go to IPC, you could go to PC, you could be saved. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah, you could. There's no running if it happened in the field, but once it happened, if you escape it, yeah, you can just go to PC for the rest of your bed. You got some real ones that'll go to PC with you and hit you. You know what I mean? But you're not dying. You're not dying. You know? So, a lot of things that people took to be official and real in the penitentiary, I didn't look at it as official and real. I looked at it as a part of your fucking duty and job. You know what I mean? If a person took a stance as a damu against the police in the penitentiary, guess what? You don't get praised for that. You was doing your job. I wish it was more. Again, I use the percentage 85, 10, and 5. Those that know the culture of Damu was created to stand against oppression, right? We know that the boys in blue, and I'm not talking about Rips, I'm talking about the real oppressors, was our main issue, right? So if you took a stance against them, which what? Only 5% do. Go in the history of Damus and name me out of the 20,000 Damus in New York City, probably, right? Name out of 20,000. All right, if 20,000 is in New York City, right? What's 5% of 20,000? What's 5% of 20,000? All right, we gonna go with 100 is 5. 1,000 is 50. 10,000 is 500. So 1,000. So 1,000 out of 20,000 Damus in New York City, only 1,000 brothers are living real right. Now talk about that. Only 1,000, right? Only 1,000. So when you see a number like that, right, you gotta ask yourself, do I want to be a part of that? Is that something I want to be a part of? If I got 1,000, hold up, that's hold up, I'm bugging out. Yeah, I'm not bugging out. All right, so that's 5%. 10% is 2,000, right? So we got 3,000 in total. So it's 3,000 out of 20,000 that's really living away. And 2,000 of that 3,000 is exploiting away. 2,000 members are exploiting the way of Damu today, in the streets or in prison. It's 2,000 of them if it's 20,000 in total blood members. So with the knowledge and the information that I believe that we are too far gone. I believe that, right, identification, right, to identify. Well, let's get this correct, right? A lot of individuals join up in prison for safety. A lot of people join up in there because they don't got no money, they don't got no family, right? So those are the two major percentages. No money and no family and protection. Very few are joining to stand for that real cause. Very few, seldomly. And that, I believe that stopped in the second generation, to be honest with you. I think joining for the cause of blood stopped in 98. Or should I say 01, 2001. You heard? That's what I'm going to say. But we're still the second generation, but going into the independence era, right? And I say that because the fight became different. The wars were won. And in those wars, you could only name this many people who was putting on during that time. People was fearing certain names, not the movement as a whole, but certain names in the movement. Certain names entitled a certain type of respect. You heard? So therefore, when you came across certain individuals in the field and you seen how other people reacted to that movement, it wasn't because of the movement, it was because of that person. That's why when that person was taken out of the way, everybody else crashed out. Right? But the fear made people not want to join it and made others want to join it because they felt protected now. All right, you know what? I'm going to join Bloods because they the ones moving the crowd. They're going to shoot something for me. All I got to do is go cut something to be down. All right, I'll go do it. That's not the same as being in the streets with a dude getting up at 15 years old, having passion for his brother, real love, saying, yo, come on, bro, we going to go out here and we going to go get some money together and then we going to go get some females together and then we going to make sure each other get home safe. You feel what I'm saying? Like, it's a difference. You got a dude that just joined this shit because he wanted to be down, because he was scared, or because he needed some money. We got some dudes that we was all locked in as family. We was all brothers in the streets, and we all clicked tight, and we all became this together, right? So maybe the origin And this is the reason why I wanted Mikey B or Shaquille or one of them to be here, because they could probably even tell you, oh shit, Pimp, any of them. Just ask them. Be like, was y'all hanging out with each other? Was y'all there for each other? Look, still to this day, you see the chaos with CK and Shaquille and Pimp. You see the niggas don't even like Pimp. Niggas will talk to him and tolerate him, but in all actuality, niggas ain't like him. I don't know the ins and outs. I don't really follow. I'm just saying what I've seen and what I've heard. And at the end of the day, I'm not trying to get into the storyline or why they don't like each other, none of that. I'm just showing you that dudes cannot like each other. And guess what? I think CK is from Brooklyn and Shaquille from Brooklyn. And I think fucking, what's the name, from Queens. So they wasn't going to like each other anyway. Pimp from Queens. So understand what I'm saying about not knowing your brothers and meeting them and not liking them. There's a difference. Same thing on my end with Pee Wee and Lacey. They didn't like each other. They didn't know each other to not like each other. But somebody didn't like something like him. I'm not gonna say we didn't like him. We were all brims, and I never heard them talk bad about each other. But we do know from history that there was some internal damage that happened. So whether it was Lacey not liking them, which is more fit, I think it was more Lacey not liking them. You feel me? Because I've been constantly around dudes that was like, yo, you know what, man? Bro, we ain't tripping off of that. We doing what we talking about. Because he's more communication, he's more organized, he's more dealing with the people. So, you know what I mean? That's where the Army favored at that time, in the beginning of the Army. Now you got Two-Face being most favored, most loved. And he always was loved by me and many others who was in the Army, but in the beginning, he wasn't communicating. So nobody could have felt that love. Those that felt that love were the chosen few who he decided and knew about and decided to extend his arms to. And that's the difference that I'm explaining today. You feel me? A lot of individuals may disagree with what I'm saying, but you wasn't there. You had to be there. You had to be involved. You know what I mean? Alright, third topic. And I'm about to get off of this. The third and the final part. You guys to love the ladies. The brimettes. Right? The bloodettes. Right? If you crip, the cripettes. If you folk, the folkettes. Every movement had official females involved. Every movement had some hoes involved. You know what I mean? There is a difference. The difference is, in the streets at one point in time, there was a fake storyline called being fucked in, right? I never jacked that. I never jacked it. Never thought it was official. Never looked at no brother that brought a female home like that as they was our equal. And I never saluted a female who got fucked in, ever. Never would. Right? It's not the right way. It's not the official way. And in the penitentiary, that's not happening at all. So you go to Bedford Hills, you go to, well, all of them, Albion or whatever, they putting in the work just like the men is putting in the work in the facilities. You understand what I'm saying? But in society, that was something that was created that I didn't like. The sexing in, the fucking in, the, yo, she bad, so she down with the team, the goofiness, yo, we bringing her around, she's gonna drive, she's gonna do, no, you don't do none of that. X that out, man, X that out. X that out. That is not it. If she was not a rider, if she wasn't a solid individual who lived with the principles as a man in the field, she was not to be trusted. For real, for real. All of that smexing in shit, that's not it. That's not it.
Okay, here we go.
So, I'm letting y'all know right now, we ain't tolerating none of that. That's not official. And for those who did that, you wasn't never official. Start all over. But yeah, that's all I got to say tonight about this inside outside topic. Y'all tap in, you get more knowledge dealing with me, and I'm gonna give you the real always. It's your boy Loaf Lyfe Manny, formerly known as OG Manny Prim. And